The town of Duskmoor was quiet at dawn, but Kiera Vale knew better than to trust its silence. The forests pressed too close, the crooked streets bent like veins through the earth, and the old clock tower loomed like a watchman frozen in time. As her cab pulled away and left her standing in front of her new apartment, she tightened her grip on her suitcase and whispered, "A new start. That's all this is. A new start." The building was old stone, ivy clinging to its walls. The landlady, a stout woman with sharp eyes, handed her the keys with a hushed warning. "Best you keep your windows locked at night, Miss Vale. Duskmoor isn't safe after dark." Kiera forced a polite smile. Of course. But a chill ran down her spine that even the weak sunlight couldn't burn away. Her first night was restless. She unpacked a few boxes, made tea that went cold before she could drink it, and tried to ignore the creaks and sighs of the apartment. Sometime after midnight, she heard it, the whisper of wings outside her window. She told herself it was nothing, just nerves, just birds, but when she finally drew back the curtain, a shadow flickered across her balcony, vanishing into the night. By morning, the unease still lingered. She wandered through town that afternoon, trying to memorize the square with its crooked fountain, the bakery that smelled of cinnamon, the narrow bookshop tucked between two forgotten alleys. She was watching the clock tower chime when she collided with someone, hard enough to scatter her notebook across the cobblestones. I'm sorry," she stammered, bending down. A hand caught hers before she could grab the pages. Cold, impossibly strong fingers curled around her wrist. She looked up into eyes the color of midnight storms. "Careful," he said, his voice velvet-laced with steel. "Not all falls are harmless." Her breath caught. The man was tall, dark hair falling across his brow, presence heavy as if he carried centuries inside him. He lingered, his gaze sweeping over her like a touch. Then, with a faint, unreadable smile, he released her and walked away, disappearing into the crowd as though he'd never existed. Kiera stood frozen, her pulse hammering in her throat. She didn't even know his name, but she felt him still, like the aftertaste of forbidden wine. That evening, she sat alone in the dim glow of her apartment's single lamp. She should have been reading or writing letters back home, but all she could think of was that stranger. She traced her fingers over her palm, remembering the cool weight of his touch, the way his voice had made her knees weak. A knock jolted her out of her thoughts. She opened the door to find a man with silvered hair and scholarly eyes. "Miss Vale?" he asked politely. "I'm Professor Ashbourne. I teach history at the university." He hesitated, then lowered his voice. "Just a word of advice. Don't walk alone at night. Duskmoor has a history." Kiera frowned. "A history of what?" His eyes flickered past her to the darkening street. "Things best left alone." Before she could question further, he tipped his hat and left, his footsteps vanishing into the mist. Kiera closed the door slowly, her heart uneasy. The stranger in the square. The shadow on her balcony. The professor's warning. Duskmoor wasn't just another town. It was hiding something, something that already had its eyes on her. And though she tried to push the thought aside, deep down, Kiera knew the truth. She wasn't safe here. Rain tapped at Kiera Vale's window like fingers trying to get in. Duskmoor looked softer under clouds, but the quiet carried weight. She dressed, forcing herself outside. The market smelled of wet earth and wood smoke. Faces turned away when she passed. At a bread stall she asked, "Has it always been this quiet?" The woman froze. "Since the disappearances." Disappearances. No reply, only a muttered prayer. Kiera escaped into the library to dry off. Dust and candle wax filled the air. Strange symbols were carved into the walls, their grooves worn smooth. She traced one. You shouldn't touch those, a voice warned. A woman stepped from between the shelves, dark hair, red lips, eyes that glittered like knives. You must be Kiera Vale. My brother doesn't talk to strangers. Your brother. Dorian. The smile curved. Tall, brooding, looks at people like puzzles he wants to break. Kiera flushed. We only met once. Yet you remember his touch, the woman purred. Be careful. His attention comes with a price. And the price is blood. The lights flickered. The air grew cold. Footsteps echoed. Dorian Veyra emerged, shadow clinging to him like smoke. Mara, he said, eyes fixed on Kiera. Enough. His sister smirked. Just saying hello. Then she vanished. He faced Kiera. You shouldn't speak with my sister. She found me, Kiera replied, trying to sound brave. And I'm not afraid of you. You should be. He stepped closer, rain scent followed him. His gaze pinned her. What are you? She whispered. Something that remembers hunger. Lightning flashed. For a breath his pupils thinned, slits like a predator's. Then normal again. Before she could speak, he was gone. Outside, rain poured in silver sheets. Kiera lingered beneath the archway, heart racing. Maybe she imagined it all. But when she returned home, something waited on her balcony, a single black rose, petals damp and dark as ink. Beneath it, a note written in elegant hand. Keep your curtains closed, little one. The night in Duskmoor is watching. Thunder rolled. A growl drifted through the storm, too deep to be wind. Kiera locked the door, breath shaking. Yet even behind glass she felt him. The man from the square. The creature from the storm. Watching. Waiting. Kiera didn't sleep. Every creak of the apartment set her nerves on edge. When dawn finally bled through the curtains, she found the black rose still on her balcony, untouched, glistening like it fed on the rain. She dropped it in the trash, but even after washing her hands, the faint scent of iron clung to her skin. By noon, exhaustion forced her out. She wandered toward the cliffs beyond Duskmoor, where fog rolled in thick and low. The sea below crashed against black rock, each wave sounding like a warning. A figure stood at the edge. Dorian. His coat whipped in the wind, eyes fixed on the horizon. You shouldn't sneak up on people like that, she called, trying to steady her voice. I heard you coming, he said, not turning. You breathe too loud when you're afraid. I'm not afraid. You should be. He finally faced her. His eyes gleamed silver in the mist. You shouldn't have come here, Kiera. Duskmoor takes what it wants. And what does it want from me? His jaw tightened. Nothing. Yet. Lightning split the clouds, and for an instant, his reflection shimmered wrong, no shadow beneath him, no warmth in the air around him. Then the sky went still again. Who are you, Dorian? He took a slow step closer, voice low enough to vibrate through her chest. Someone who's tried to forget what he is. The air thickened between them. His hand brushed her cheek, colder than the sea wind, and her breath caught. You should leave Duskmoor, he whispered. Maybe I don't want to. That broke something in his expression, a flicker of hunger, of conflict. His thumb grazed her lip, and for a heartbeat she thought he might kiss her. But then he vanished, gone like smoke pulled into the storm. That night, she sat by the window again, staring at the rain. Her pulse still carried the echo of him. She didn't know if she wanted to scream or chase him down. A sound broke her thoughts, the faint click of her balcony door. She froze. The latch turned. The curtains stirred. Kiera, a whisper slid through the dark. Her name, spoken like a promise and a curse. She spun toward it, heart pounding. The curtains fluttered open, revealing not Dorian, but something else. A pale figure, eyes glowing red, fangs catching the light. Before she could scream, the creature lunged, only to be ripped backward, slammed against the wall by an unseen force. Dorian stood between them, eyes burning like coals. "She's not yours," the creature hissed, vanishing into mist. Kiera stumbled back, shaking. What was that?" Dorian turned to her, blood streaking his jaw. "A warning. You don't belong here. You saved me." He stared at her for a long moment, then whispered, "No. I've doomed you." And then he was gone again, leaving nothing but the echo of thunder and the scent of rain and blood. Kiera sank to the floor, trembling, staring at the open balcony where the storm howled through Duskmoor. She finally understood. The danger wasn't the town. It was him. Kiera didn't remember moving, only the sound of her heartbeat echoing off the walls. The balcony doors hung open, curtains snapping in the wind like ghostly hands. The rain had slowed to a mist, but the scent of iron still clung to the air. She pressed trembling fingers to the spot on the floor where Dorian had stood. The boards were wet, warm, almost, like the storm itself had bled into her apartment. She should have run. Called someone. Packed her things. But instead, she sat there until the clock struck 3, staring into the night that had almost swallowed her. When sleep finally came, it wasn't peace. She dreamed of eyes glowing red through fog, of cold lips brushing her throat, of whispers promising eternity. Kiera woke to sunlight cutting through the curtains. For a moment, she thought it had all been a nightmare. But the balcony door still hung open, and a streak of crimson marred the floorboards where the stranger had been thrown. She cleaned it quickly, pretending it wasn't blood. Her phone buzzed, a number she didn't recognize. "Miss Vale," came a familiar voice. "Professor Ashbourne. Meet me at the chapel this afternoon. There are things you should know." The call ended before she could reply. The chapel sat on a hill above Duskmoor, its bell tower leaning slightly as though tired of keeping secrets. Inside, candlelight flickered against the stained glass, throwing colors across the stone floor. Ashbourne waited near the altar, a stack of old books beside him. "You've seen them, haven't you?" he said quietly. "The ones that hide behind the storm." Kiera hesitated. "You mean Dorian?" The professor's eyes darkened. The Veyra family ruled this town long before it had a name. People think they vanished, but they didn't. They adapted. He slid a book toward her, its cover cracked, the pages brittle. An illustration showed pale figures with fangs and eyes like embers. "Vampires," she whispered. "The Veyras aren't myths, Miss Vale. They're the reason Duskmoor survives, and the reason no one ever truly leaves." The chapel doors groaned open. Cold air swept through, snuffing out half the candles. Dorian stood there, drenched in rain, eyes unreadable. "You shouldn't tell her these things," he said, voice low. Ashbourne stiffened. "She has a right to know. You're endangering her." "I think you already did that," the professor shot back. For a heartbeat, silence hung thick between them. Then Dorian's gaze found Kiera. "You came here for a new life. You won't find it. Not in this town." She stepped forward. "Then why save me?" He didn't answer. His expression cracked for a second, pain, regret, hunger, before he turned and disappeared into the storm again. Ashbourne gathered the books with shaking hands. "He's trying to fight what he is," he murmured. But you make that harder for him. Kiera looked toward the open doors, where thunder rolled like a heartbeat. She didn't understand why her chest ached at the thought of him, only that it did. Outside, the rain began again, heavier than before, as if the sky itself warned her to run. But Kiera Vale didn't run. Not yet. That night, Kiera couldn't shake the professor's words. Vampires. It sounded insane, until she replayed every moment with Dorian Veyra, the cold skin, the strange strength, the hunger in his eyes. She sat by the window, the rain whispering secrets against the glass. The streets of Duskmoor shimmered with lamplight and mist. A lone figure moved below, tall, deliberate. Her pulse jumped. Dorian. He stopped beneath her balcony, face hidden by shadow. Kiera, his voice floated up, soft but sharp as glass. She hesitated only a second before unlatching the door. The wind surged in, carrying his scent, storm, iron, and something ancient. You shouldn't be here, she whispered. Neither should you, he answered. They're already watching. Who? My family. He stepped inside, rain dripping from his hair. The air between them burned. I told you to leave Duskmoor. And I told you I wasn't afraid. For a moment, silence. Then his hand lifted, brushing her jaw. Her breath caught. His touch was fire and ice all at once. You should be, he murmured. Then make me. The challenge broke something inside him. He closed the distance, lips grazing hers, slow, hesitant, as if testing a line he'd sworn never to cross. The kiss deepened, fierce and forbidden, tasting of rain and ruin. When he pulled away, his eyes glowed faintly silver. I could hurt you, he rasped. Then why haven't you? His jaw clenched. Because I remember what it was to be human. Lightning cracked outside. The sound startled them apart. Dorian turned toward the balcony. They'll come for you now. You've crossed into our world. Kiera caught his sleeve. Then teach me how to survive in it. He stared at her, torn between fury and desire. You have no idea what you're asking. Maybe not, she said, voice shaking. But I'd rather face the dark with my eyes open. Something in him softened, then hardened again. Tomorrow. Meet me before dusk. The forest path behind the chapel. Before she could respond, he was gone, disappearing into rain and shadow as if the night itself had swallowed him. Sleep never came. Each crack of thunder made her wonder if he'd return, or if something else would. By dawn, she packed a bag anyway. Curiosity had already won over fear. She glanced once more at the mirror. Her reflection looked the same. Yet not. There was color in her cheeks again, a dangerous spark in her eyes. Outside, Duskmoor waited under a bruised sky. Somewhere beyond the trees, a vampire had promised her answers, and maybe damnation. Kiera Vale locked the door behind her and stepped into the storm. Fog rolled low through the woods beyond Duskmoor, curling around the roots like living smoke. Kiera followed the narrow path behind the chapel, her shoes damp, her heart pounding with every echo of thunder. He was there. Dorian. Leaning against an ancient oak, coat black as the storm itself. You came, he said quietly, as though surprised she'd kept her word. I said I would. His gaze swept over her, assessing, wary, hungry. You shouldn't have. I need answers, she said. I deserve to know what's happening. Dorian pushed off the tree, walking toward her. The forest seemed to bow to his presence. You want the truth? He murmured. Then you'll have it. He held out his hand. But once you see, you can't unsee. Kiera hesitated, then took it. His skin was cold, his grip unyielding. "Don't move," he said. The air thickened. Wind coiled around them. Then, darkness flared. His eyes burned silver, veins traced black across his temples. Fangs glinted where his human smile had been. Kiera gasped, stumbling back, but his hand tightened on hers. "This is what I am," he said, voice raw. "A predator pretending to be a man." Lightning lit the forest, throwing monstrous shadows across the trees. Yet even as fear tore through her, Kiera couldn't look away. "You saved me," she whispered. "I shouldn't have. My kind doesn't save." "Then why did you?" Dorian's breath hitched. "Because when I saw you, I remembered what mercy felt like." The storm broke overhead, rain slashing through the branches. Kiera reached up, fingers trembling, and touched his cheek. His skin was freezing, but it pulsed faintly beneath her touch, as though something long dead stirred there. "You're not a monster," she said softly. He caught her wrist, eyes glowing brighter. "Don't lie to yourself, Kiera. I am every nightmare you were warned about." "Then why am I not running?" His lips parted like he wanted to answer, but thunder drowned his words. Instead, he pulled her closer, until their breath mingled. "I can't protect you from what comes next," he said. "My family will sense you now. You've been marked." "Marked?" He brushed her neck with his fingertips. "The night you saw me, when I touched you, I left my scent on your skin. It binds you to me. Can you remove it?" "I could," he said, voice dark, "but I don't want to." The confession hung between them like lightning. Kiera's pulse thundered in her throat. "Then what happens to me now?" Dorian stepped back, eyes shadowed. "You learn. You run. Or you burn with us." He vanished into mist, leaving her alone in the downpour, trembling, half terrified. And half thrilled. Kiera touched her throat where his fingers had been. The skin there burned faintly, as if branded by something unseen. And somewhere deep in the forest, a whisper followed her home, her name, carried on the storm. The rain in Duskmoor didn't stop for days. Kiera barely slept, haunted by what she'd seen in the forest, by Dorian's fangs, by the way his eyes glowed like liquid silver. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt his hand on her throat, the phantom burn of the mark had left there. By the third night, the mark had changed. A faint shimmer bloomed beneath her skin, not a bruise, not a wound, but something alive. When she touched it, her pulse quickened unnaturally, sinking to a rhythm that wasn't hers. Thunder shook the glass. Outside, the streets were empty. Duskmoor seemed to be holding its breath. Then came the knock. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Kiera froze. "Dorian?" she whispered. No answer. Another knock, heavier this time. She grabbed the iron poker from beside the fireplace and stepped closer to the door. "Who's there?" A woman's voice drifted through, smooth and cold. "You're harder to find than my brother thought." "Mara Veyra." Kiera's blood ran cold. "Go away. Open the door, little mortal. I just want to talk." The lock rattled on its own. Shadows coiled along the edges of the doorframe, creeping inward like smoke. Before she could react, the door burst open. Mara stood in the entryway, impossibly beautiful, eyes glowing crimson. "You've caused quite a stir, Kiera Vale." "I didn't mean to." "Oh, you did," Mara interrupted, circling her like a predator. "My brother's scent is all over you. Do you even understand what that means?" Kiera backed away. "He marked me." "Marked you?" Mara laughed softly. "He claimed you." Kiera's breath caught. "He said it was to protect me." "Protection?" Mara's smile sharpened. Darling, it's a death sentence. Now the others will come. They'll want to see what makes the great Dorian Veyra lose control. Wind howled through the apartment. Candles snuffed out one by one. Mara, please. But Mara vanished, reappearing behind her in a blur of motion. Cold fingers slid against Kiera's neck, tracing the glowing mark. So fragile, Mara whispered. So warm. Suddenly, the room exploded with motion. Dorian slammed through the doorway, tackling his sister backward. Wood splintered, glass shattered. Mara, enough. He roared. You're a fool. She hissed, fangs bared. You think you can keep her? She's already one of us. It'll kill anyone who touches her. Then father will kill you both. Her laugh echoed as she vanished into mist. Dorian turned, eyes still burning, chest heaving. Are you hurt? Kiera shook her head, tears mixing with rain. She said. I'm one of you. He stepped closer, voice trembling. Not yet. But soon. His silence was answer enough. A flash of lightning filled the room. For an instant, Kiera saw his reflection vanish from the shattered mirror behind him, and then she saw another figure standing in the reflection, tall, ancient, watching them both. Dorian, she whispered, we're not alone. The air turned to ice. A deep voice, smooth as death, filled the room. So. This is the girl you would defy me for. Dorian spun, eyes wide. Father. The lights went out.